Welcome to the first episode of the Burn CD, a music discovery podcast dedicated to talking about records we love and why we love them. Today I'm joined with Awol Da Mindwriter, nerdcore boom bap rapper from Long Island, and his producer, JHershey. The collaboration that led to the June release of their second record, Sega AM2 Part 2, the 13-track record after Sega AM2, and Insert Coin the Sampler. For anyone that doesn't know Awol Da Mindwriter, he's been releasing music since 2016. But let's get into it. Awol, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, I'm chilling, I mean, LA. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? That's where I'm at.
that's what's up. What are you doing in LA?
My first night May. I'm currently ending a press tour. As a matter of fact, being this interview after today will be the end of my press tour. So
Woo!
Bye.
Hey,
shout out to the
vibes.
Burn CD.
Or
No problem. And thank you for being the first guest on the Bird CD. It's a big deal, so thank you for
Yeah.
being here. And how are you, Jay Hirsch?
I'm chilling, man. I just had a pretty good weekend. Just chilling with some friends. Caught up with some people I haven't seen in a minute, so it's been good. But I've been chilling. About to drop
I feel
something.
like,
Get into
hell
that
yeah.
later.
I feel like this is a really fun cast because we're like bi-coastal right now. We got New York, we got LA, and I'm in Denver.
That's
So I just
what's
love that
up.
we're just coming
That's
together.
really what's up.
The weed capitals right now.
It's looking hot in it, babes. It's giving major city vibes.
Yo, word.
But all right, now that we've checked in, I just want to say I've listened to this record top to bottom at least 5 times. And the
Appreciate that.
people, and I was like
Thank you.
thinking about it. I was like, I showed it to some friends because I was like, y'all, you have to listen to this. It's such a fire record. And every single person that I've shown it to has been like, he sounds like MF Doom. Like straight up.
Really?
That's a good one.
Yes. And then I re-listened to it after they said that, and I was like, yo, I can kind of hear it. And that's like a really big compliment for someone to be like, oh, like
So
three
crazy,
different
that's
people said
legendary.
that to me. They were like, it's his flow style. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that little compliment in there because I was like, I didn't hear that. Like it sounds like you. Like I know you. Oh, and we got the Doomsday record.
Exactly.
We got the Doomsday record. But
Yo,
yeah,
son, nah, he got it though. He got the fucking hand on deck.
Definitely.
Look at
well,
JHershey.
it's probably a very light influence, but I definitely want to, introduce you to the people. I want to talk about your start because I feel like you've been doing this for like a decade, but you've only been like releasing within the past like 5 or 6 years. Talk about your music journey with us. I know it's like very long, but yeah.
I mean, okay. I've been making music since 2006. So we're talking like I had a 17, like maybe 18-year run. It's been a long time. Uh, yeah, like the journey has been amazing. It's just been one big walkthrough. It's like how I look at it like, in Nintendo, but um
Classic.
I look at it like the Pokemon journey, Pokemon trainer journey. Ash Ketchum wanted to be the best Pokemon trainer ever. So, upon all these elite trainers and everything, and he had to go through these circumstances, and that's what I felt like I had to go through for even to get to where I'm at now. Even with be blessed with JHershey and his presence. And I mean, I know a lot of cats, man. A lot of cats I've worked with, but I guess it's not like it didn't go anywhere. I just felt like no one was like listening like hard enough, and like no one was accepting. I would always hear like a lot of accolades as far as like you sound like this, you sound like that.
Hmm.
A lot of comparisons, like and I appreciate like the legends that I get compared by, and it means a lot. But I also want you to just listen to me because one day you'll be talking about me too. Like you sound like this rapper sounds like Awol the Mindwriter or Kid Sega. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
You
want to
want to be
like I want
authentic.
right. I wanted to shine in my own light and still shine in my own light, being the cat that like I'm not about. I'm not here to to give you a show, but while I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna put on a show. I'm not here to give you the show. I'm just here to just do what I do, but also I'm here to teach you something, teach people something. So I feel like my experience at this point now, like I think that's what I'm trying to just show. Like you could just be you, you know, without, and I spent the last 17, 18 years in this music career being me. So this
That's
the
amazing.
quirky, smart, witty, smart ass sometimes, smart aleck,
Comedian, and we'll get into that later.
right,
But you're
and
hilarious.
so I feel like, like now that it's being recognized, it's not even just my quirkiness. A lot of my adventures too comes from, crazy backgrounds. I have a lot of crazy stories. So the fact that I'm able to share that and people are listening to it, it's a blessing, and being behind JHershey's production, it speaks for itself, man. Like I really study with his production. So the fact that we meshed together the way we did, shout out to E-Man. You know what I mean? Shout out Emmanuel.
Hmm.
You know, it's because of him. I feel like it's what got us working to this point. So thank you, for recognizing, especially Jay Hershey, because if it weren't for him recognizing my sound, we wouldn't be here.
I feel like you both have a collaboration that has brought you above ground. Because even when we met like years ago, I remember you calling yourself more of like an underground rapper, like, and I feel like you've been getting such great feedback and it's been pushing you above ground. Just like seeing how you two have pushed 2 records in 2 years together, like you're on a roll, baby. You're getting above
Thank
the
you.
ground.
Appreciate that for
And
real.
that's
Yes.
and it's that dedication and that hard work. But I definitely want to talk about your aesthetic because I feel like when I off your first record, Insert Coin, the sampler, you definitely had like a very like gaming nerdcore aesthetic, but it was very light though. I feel like with Hershey, you've kind of like leaned in more into a specific style that I don't even want to label just as nerdcore or like boom bap. There's more to it. There's a lot of
Right.
storytelling, and a lot of your own truth and self confidence that shines through this record, the past 2 records, AM2 and then AM2 Part 2. So tell me how you guys, like, when you first came together for Sega AM2, the first one, how were you building that aesthetic that kind of led you into the second record? And either of you
Jay,
can
should you
go.
answer this?
I could give my perspective on it.
Yeah.
Well, like first and foremost, like he mentioned earlier, shout out to our guy E-Man, Emmanuel, Long Island, I know E-Man,
Lost, bro.
where Loughborough. I know E-Man through breaking. That's what I was doing before I got into making beats. I was breaking,
Breakdancing?
breakdancing for, yeah, breakdancing for
Wow.
casual, casual people.
Just some New York shit.
Facts, b-boy shit, I was doing
Hmm.
that. I met E-Man like 2013, like kind of like the same time I met a lot of other people that I call, friends and family to this day through like hip hop, underground, breaking all that. So E-Man, he actually got me into making beats. So this is a very influential
Wow.
person
Shout
to
out
my
E-Man
whole.
right now.
Yeah, no, yeah, we
Being the
well,
guiding light right now.
we always shout out E-Man because that's really like dudes wouldn't
Why you're
even
here.
be.
Yeah.
It's deep. Like dudes probably wouldn't even be making beats like me if it was for him. So because he showed me how to use the machine and all that. So um, about like a year or two into making beats, and he was like, once I started making beats, he was like, "Oh nah, yo, you got something." Because I always had the, I feel like I always had the ear. Like I knew what I liked, but I just didn't know how to
Hmm.
make it. But once I started to like, kind of learn how to use a machine, I was like, "Oh snap." Started making sense. But around the time I started getting really nice with it, he was telling me like early, he's like, "Yo, this guy I got that you got to work with, man. Like one of my boys." And I'm like, "But
Hmm.
people just tell you something you're not really
It
paying too
comes
much
in
attention. Like
passing.
yeah,
You don't
like
know how for
not
real they are.
not to say I
Yeah.
was ignoring it, but it was like okay. But like I didn't know anything. I didn't hear anything. And like one time he played like a song that he had. He played me a song and it was like a posse cut. It was him and a bunch of other rappers and it gets to one guy's verse. I'm like, oh, that guy's verse is dope. Like his voice is dope. Like it's like animated. Like I'm like, fuck with that dude. And he literally stops. Like he's like, yo, that's the guy I'm telling you about. And then, and then, yeah, yeah.
I'm
And then
dead.
it's like, and then we linked. I think it was at E-Man's crib first. It's always fun.
It was at email. Now
Or was it the show?
we met in 2019. No, in 2018 or 20. It was like 2018. We had a show,
Yeah,
and I met him,
right.
but I didn't really like.
Yeah.
It was
You
like
really
one of
built
those
yet.
things. I wasn't like right, like just like JHershey. I was okay,
Yeah.
another producer.
Yeah, I was
I don't
E-Man's
really care. Like
I
Guarded,
got
a
Dennis
little
show.
guarded.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
I noticed how ill he was, and I remember
Kind of live.
kept telling
Kind of while it was happening
right.
because he's doing the show. He's a part of E-Man. Is E-Man's group? They're in a group back then. They were doing the show, and I'm just doing the music in the background. So he's literally rapping. I'm like doing effects on the SP. And I
Just
remember
like running
I remember
running
while
the
you was rapping, you like
triggers.
turned around like, what the fuck is going on with the beat? Like he did like one of those while he was rapping, but like I'm like
He was like, "Ooh."
stuttering and doing low pass and all type of gates and all that shit.
Hmm.
So he's like, the fuck
Yeah.
is going on? Is music fucked up? But
I remember that. I
it's
remember
on
that.
beat though. But like after that, I feel like I was like, oh shit, like because I told him like, voice is mad dope and shit. So he was building from there, but it didn't necessarily go anywhere yet. But like, but at that time, this what I could definitely do remember. So I met Awol now, and now I'm like, okay, let me actually go listen to his stuff, and I listened to Insert Coin. So this is gonna go back to your question. It's like,
That was my
2019.
introduction
yeah,
too. Was Intercoin.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
2019 when we met.
Really answer the
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
question
met
with
around
the
the same
aesthetic.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, so to really answer the question with the aesthetic, because I'm definitely, I'm going back to that, but it's like I started listening to Insert Coin, and like from the beginning, I'm looking at the cover, I'm like, oh shit, okay, the Sega shit. I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh nah, I get it, like you know what I mean, because like Sega Genesis is what I grew up. That's my first video game console that I ever played, and like I'm a gamer, he's a gamer, so I was like, yo, I
I didn't
get what
even
he's
know
talking
that. This
about.
is getting too
Yeah,
deep.
no, but
Yeah,
It's literally
it's
like
but
you're
very
like I'm
deep.
miming at
listening
each
to it.
other.
That's a
You
fact. And
you,
like
you
also
play
first I'm listening
Sega. He
to it.
plays Sega.
No, that's facts. Like, and I'm listening to it,
Yeah.
and he also had joints on SoundCloud. Like, he had the joint over the Knowledge
Hmm.
beat, and I remember all this shit. He had
Extra
the
life.
yeah,
Extra life.
Extra
Yeah.
Life, yeah, and the cover was the
Yeah.
Sonic Extra Life. So I'm like, yo, I'm like really like I get the guy's concept. Like, I'm like in my head, I'm like I know other people probably not gonna get this shit, but I get this shit. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I also know that there's gonna be a group of people out there that will get this shit because Sega has like a really diehard
Yeah.
fan base to this day, and like I'm one of those.
Hmm.
Even right
Yeah,
now.
like and I'm one of those people. Like they don't make
Hmm.
consoles no more, but I will say to people that's one of my favorite game things, and I'd be like, you must be old or some shit. You know what I mean? But I always just I'm an old
It's a deep
soul. I'm an
cut.
old
It's a
soul.
deep
I've been
cut to be a
people told
Sega
me that
fan.
since I was in high
Yeah.
school. I'm an old soul. I like to play retro games and all that shit. So I really got what he was doing. I like old school rap, all that shit. So once
Hmm.
we actually started meeting together in the studio, we started building just about that. Like because now I know his concept. I'm like, yo, we know what type of games you fuck with. We're having conversations like that, and like it became more natural. I feel like. And then the funny shit that we always talk about in these interviews is like, I'm chilling with E-Man one day, and I think he just told me like, oh yeah, AWOL really recorded one of your shit like months ago. I'm like, really? And he plays me some shit that they recorded mad long ago. I'm like, oh shit, but it sounded dope. I'm like, oh, this is hard.
Which track was this?
That track never got released, but it was over the beat. It was
Oh.
over a beat called "Call Me" on my first beat tape.
JHershey.
Yeah, it's either my first or
Coming.
second beat tape. The beat is called "Call Me." People can find that, but we never released that shit. We might gotta release that one day on some like
So
the
he had your
history of
instrumental already
word.
recorded over one of your songs.
Yeah, we might
And
gotta
they're like,
release
"Oh
that
yeah,
one day.
we already finished the track, bro."
No, he really did though. Like on some like real like it kind of reminds me of like the J-Lib story. How like
Mhm.
Dilla said that. No, Madlib said that he caught wind of like niggas just rapped over his shit, and that's how they became cool though. It was kind of like that. It was like, oh shit, this
Mhm.
shit's so dope. So I used to go to the
Yeah.
studio with E-Man all the time, the same studio that he used to record at. So one day we were both there, and it was like, ah, yo, let's like really try to do something now. So I believe the first song was Wild Style, and like but
Okay.
he just did it though. He already did it. When I heard it,
Mhm.
he played it for me in the studio, and I was like, oh, like at that moment I was like,
What a compliment.
oh yeah, like at that moment I was like, oh yeah, this is this can be something like interesting, you know what I mean? Because it says like we're both here with the concept, and we both, we both are influenced by similar shit. And then like, once we started to really, once we did Wild Side, I feel like it just took off after that. We were like, we were in the studio.
Yeah.
We were in the studio. He would bring the Genesis Mini. I'm literally playing the. I was
Yeah,
gonna put this
right.
shit up because it's just so real. Like I'm literally
Nerd.
playing the Genesis. He's writing raps, and like the vibe is very organic. Like it wasn't forced, and like from there it was like,
Were you
this is dope.
did you listen to anything else when
Yeah.
you were in the process of recording Sega AM2, like not part 2 but AM2?
I
Were you
mean,
like, did you just listen to Insert Coin and you're like, I know what he's going for, or was it like,
I
did you
just had
guys
an
listen to
idea
records
of like,
together?
okay, I get the concept. I totally got the concept. I was like, okay, this is dope. Like,
Mhm.
some real video game, but it's deeper than just like, because there's been people before that have rapped and like they'll rap about Mario going through the level, like Benefit did
Mhm.
that. Mad people did stuff like
But
that.
Mario, nah, Benefit killed
Yeah,
it
no, no,
though.
no, no, no.
That's
I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying that like I feel like what AWOL did, that I feel like people maybe now
He had
starting
his
to
own
get.
twist on it.
Yeah, it's like he's talking about real life, but he's using video games as metaphors. And like
Literally.
yeah, and like
Literally.
once and I got that from Insert Court, and I was like, oh, this is hard because you said that your friends was comparing to MF Doom, and like uh I would say that I could see that aspect of it because I told him, yo, that sure reminds me of the Food album, which I also have
Yeah.
right next to me. Because the
Mhm.
album, every song is named after food, and he's talking about food metaphors, but the actual songs are about real life, like deep fried friends and shit like that. So I get what you're doing. It's similar to that, but what you're doing with video games, and I fuck with that because I'm a gamer too. So I got the concept now in terms of like instrumentally. It's like we were just both well, to answer your question, you said what we were listening to. I feel like we were just going back and forth listening to shit that we both like. Like we both kind of built on, golden age, 90s,
Mhm.
2000s underground, the quote
Yeah.
unquote backpack rap, but also I feel like one thing that we really connected on was the blog era shit. So like 2010, Cool Kids, Odd Future.
no. Fuck 2010 Cool Kids.
Yeah,
I
2008
mean, you
Cool
can't
Kids.
2000.
deny
Okay, no,
it.
no, he's right. He's right. No, he's right.
I'm so
2008,
blog
the
era
bake
though.
sale, the
I
bake,
am such
What
a huge
the
blog era fan.
fuck, nigga?
the bake
How
sale.
dare you?
But Odd Future though,
Yeah,
but 20,
shout out Sir Michael Roxon and Chuck
Chuck English,
English
right?
too.
But 2010 Odd Future
Oh,
though, like Earl, shit like that.
Mhm.
I mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't like to be like clear. It wasn't like we were listening that like, or we're trying to make this again. It was just more
Yeah.
like we were just bouncing like,
You bonded
yo,
over
you fuck with this
these
shit.
like influences.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yo, you fuck with Cool Kids. Oh, I fuck with Cool Kids too. You fuck with Earl. Like I remember asking that in E-Man's crib. I was like, you fuck with Earl? Because like the way he was rapping, I was like, not to say
Mhm.
not that he was rapping like Earl, but it was like I got it. It's like
You
too
like
black
the
for the white kids, too
aesthetics.
white
There's
for the black
elements
type
of
shit.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
Yeah,
connected my whole
there's
lifestyle.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Like
I
so,
feel like there
like when Earl says a line like that, I'm like, yeah, I feel like this dude knows. I feel like he fucks with that type of shit. So I asked him. He said, yeah. And then,
Mhm.
it was just from there. It's like he fucked with LP. He kind of put me more in the LP shit. I feel like I put it more
Mhm.
in the like. I know he was already in the Mad Lib and shit, but I feel like we just bounce back and forth like different shit from those eras, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, which is pretty much the
Yep.
past 20 years of hip hop. But that's what we like. Like
Yeah, no, for
we're
real.
both
But you
really
guys
the
like
80s
plucked
too. We'd
things.
be in his car
Y'all pluck
in the early
things.
80s shit. Like we both really love hip hop. I probably should have led with that. We both really love hip hop, and we both really love video games. So it was pretty natural, and it was like
Yeah.
what we wanted to do.
I
Yeah.
oh,
It's
go
not
ahead,
even just
AWOL.
like it's not even just. See, this is the thing, right quick. It's not just the hip hop, like the music. It's for me. This is my life.
Facts.
Like
That's a fact.
this is literally my life.
Word.
Mhm.
Like I can't begin to tell you. You know how like cats on ABC 7 or like America would try to mainstream hip hop and shit. Yo, when they used to do that shit, I used to get really pissed off about that as a kid. As a kid.
Mhm.
And as far as the video games concept, my mom before she passed used to tell me like, "Yo, like life is not a video game, right?" But that's how I used to always look at it. Except once you fuck up,
You can't
that's
just pop
it.
back up. Yeah.
It's a wrap.
I really
Like
I want
I
to dive
understand
into
the
that
concept,
more. This
right?
this idea
So
that video games are a metaphor in your music while you storytell about your life.
Right. And that, I mean, I have a lot of misadventures, man. Like I could write
You
movies,
get
I
into
could write
situations.
TV shows about this shit. Like a lot of
Always be crazy.
people have lived some of these moments, man. Like the craziest shit, and I can rap about it. And it's like I'm not doing it. I'm not in the moment so I can rap about it. Some cats do that.
Hmm.
Some shit just happens, and I can just rap about it. It's just, I guess, it's a gift. It's not even just like my experience. I rap really about anything,
Or
like
But the
anything
way
that really
you
comes to my
relate, the
mind.
way you relate things and match the lyricism to a concept from, I mean, just listening to Sega AM Part 2, you've talked about One Piece, you've talked about Star Wars, I'm gonna trick that Jedi mind if he gets out of line,
oh,
all types of things in there, which is one of my favorite bars.
word.
By the
I forgot about
way,
that one too.
we'll
That's
get
crazy.
into a
Let's
bar
get it.
breakdown later in this
Okay.
podcast where I kind of list my favorite one-liners. But I just love how casual you are about it, and I think that's what makes it really, really fun.
Word.
You know,
I mean, I could give you something right now.
hit us with one of your
All
faves.
right. If I had control of a turret, I aim it at Katie Couric. You herbs that seem nervous. I'm serving your dessert perfect. You haven't heard I'm the worst kid. One word will leave you crabs hermit.
Mm.
Damn,
Boss.
it's like the double
Wordplay.
entendre shit.
Wordplay.
Like, I think there was one that was like, "My one punch man." Can you
Leave
finish
you
the
flying in
line?
disguise. Yeah.
Leave you flying in
Yeah, my one
disguise.
punch will leave you flying in the skies, zooming past the orbit when you won't believe
Fire.
your eyes when you wake up in the morning and you're looking in the mirror and them shits are black and swollen.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
hold on.
real shit.
Yeah, no, really though.
You'd be like, yo,
No,
what the
it's
fuck?
fun. It's fun. There's something
Yeah,
so fun
it's
and
very
casual about
animated.
it.
Yeah. And like I fuck with
But
that.
I think that like even though you're telling real stories, you kind of get a little political on it sometimes, like socio-political. Like, for example, one of my favorite tracks that brought me joy was Say It Back on Black. And I'm gonna say one of my favorite bars from that track, and we can talk about it a little bit more. Sick of the way you see me in my car, staring at me hard, getting ready to park and double check for all your valuables, lock your doors 3 times right before I even laugh at you, talk shit, blast obscenities, and give you attitude.
Word.
I feel like you just changed the narrative because it's like it reminded me of like being a black woman in America, getting followed around in a store. And it's like, I have money. I'm going to pay for things. I'm just like everybody else.
Right.
But instead of feeling shitty about it and being like, oh man, like the racism, you're like, oh, this is funny as hell. You're more scared of me than I am scared of you. Like,
Yeah. And
you're
that's real.
freaking out, and that's funny as fuck.
Word.
Because I'm just hanging out, you know?
I living through it in the modern day.
That's
Your
real.
perspective is really refreshing because it's switching up the oppression first and foremost. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing: how a lot of people can't flip it. I could. Like I'm the hip hop text Avery.
Mm.
That's what I like to call. That's what I started calling myself, the hip hop text Avery.
Word.
Super animated. Don't give a fuck. But
Yeah.
it's just before I became this way. How did was I not the victim?
Right.
Because that shit was. I mean, I grew up in Great Neck, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't always get looked at like that, but as time went on,
Yeah.
you see a lot of things, man.
Even just
And
like in a post BLM era, you know?
oh, it's you know what makes me laugh? I've shitted on cats that it's like whether or not I have more money than you, I'm in a better position than you. It's just the way you are. It lets me know everything I need to know about you,
Hmm.
and that's our dilemma with America. I can literally be black in America, and I'm quarter English, whatever, all that shit. Fuck that ancestry.com shit. I can sit in a room and just live my life. I can joke and laugh and bullshit and always give out judgment. I fuck around. You know people know how I am. If people know how I am in a room, I really don't mean any harm. But I could sit in a room and could just read and watch and blend in,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's not like espionage shit. It's more like I can relate to some people in the room. Some people I've probably never seen a day in my life, and I could probably relate to you like that, and that's happened. So it's mainly I'm not looking at the skin color. I'm not looking at your background, where you're from. It's mainly the kind of character you are. It's what Martin Luther King wanted us to look at. It's not about the color of our skin. It's the content of our characters.
You
Because at
take
the end of the
people as they
day,
are, as they come.
that that's going to bring us into heaven, the content of our character, and that's also going to bring us to hell. So why worry about the things that just matter right now, but it's temporary? That's my focus on this shit. When I wrote Say It Loud, I wrote it in the perspective of I'm always the victim, the
Mm-hmm.
loudmouth, the obnoxious one.
Right.
But what happens to when I'm not bothering anybody? I'm quiet. I'm exactly that, because I sit in my car. I probably might have a nicer car than you, or whatever, whether or not,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you just treat me with such intent.
I'm still
So
getting
yeah,
judged right now,
right. But
regardless.
meanwhile, I've shut people down. I've shut people down off this shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, bro, like you look stupid. I just want, even at that, even my age, be like, yo, bro, how old are you? Oh, oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Says a lot.
OD.
Says a lot.
I feel like,
I've
yeah,
seen people, but it's like not to do it. It's just to teach you, yo, where you're at mentally and where I'm at mentally, metaphysically, spiritually. It's not
you're
about
floating
none of that
above
shit,
in the
man.
metaverse.
Right? Like you're just existing. I'm living.
Right. And
Or
that's
I'm
I think
trying to live.
and I think that's what makes this track shine is that it's a relief. Like when I heard it, it was a relief for me because I was like, damn, he really just said everything that needed to be said. Like, I think even after that bar of blast obscenities and give you attitude, sick of the way you
Sick of the
view
way you view
us,
us, but love how you amuse us.
Mm.
Getting
getting
shot by
shot.
coward cops or hung up by the Ku Klux. Suck my dick, you stupid.
Literally. Like I think that I think listening to this record, like no matter what skin color you are, you can listen to this and be like, damn, he just doesn't give a fuck right now. He's aware of the bullshit. He's seen the bullshit, but you're above the bullshit. And I think that it's probably one of the standout tracks because it's so open and fun while still being a place for you to talk your shit about the socio-political bullshit that we go through as black people.
But here's the
Um,
thing. I try to teach people too. Like I don't want to talk so much or talk, I'm not talking crazy,
no, talk your
but I am
shit.
gonna
Talk your
say
shit.
this. Everyone knows how I am. I'm animated, but I can also be serious at the same time. So it's like I'm very well aware, but I'm living my life.
Yeah.
This is basically saying be yourself.
And
Don't
laugh through
act
that
out for
shit.
anybody. I'm not acting out for anybody. I mean, I'm just living my life. I'm living, I guess, my calling. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't pay attention to that. They ignore the circumstances to what may make them great or greater than their adversary or greater than the situation yesterday or today to make them a better person tomorrow. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are afraid of that. Or if not, there's some formulation, an image. You have to be molded in this kind of way, in this perspective for you to look like that guy or that
The
person. And it's like,
pipeline, the conventional
bro,
pipeline.
right. I'm a rebel. I don't really care about order.
That's
I
apparent.
don't. Right. I don't like being barked at. I don't like taking orders.
Yeah. And I think that
That's why
kind
it's
of
easy not to give a fuck. I
no,
mean,
for
what I mean?
real.
Just seriously, it's just all right. That's how you
Being
feel?
authentically
All right, watch
yourself.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, people think I'm crazy. Maybe I have lost my mind.
I think everyone's
But
a little crazy. If
maybe
you're an
it'll
artist, you
change.
have to lean into your crazy just
Yeah,
a little
that's a
bit.
big fact. That's a big fact.
Just a little bit. I mean, we can even talk about Screaming Down the Block. You're damn near screaming in that track.
Right, man.
You know? Let's talk about Screaming Down the Block because that is one of your most popular songs right now. It's
Definitely.
coming in at like 31,000 listens on Spotify. Shout out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You got a sweet
Yeah.
video to go along with. Talk about Screaming Down the Block. It kind of reminded me of
Okay.
one song from Insert Coin. Um, Who That Dude Off His Medicine type beat. It was giving me that energy.
Oh, that was ninth floor.
Ninth floor, yep.
Ninth floor. Ninth. And shout out. I want to say,
There, I feel like
in
there's
the
like a little
middle.
correlation between Screaming Down the Block and Ninth Floor, just a little bit. Like the themes are kind of similar.
Word.
But
Definitely.
talk about what you were thinking about when you were writing Screaming Down the Block.
Shout out to the doppelgangers too. Shout out to EP and matter of fact, what I mean, those are the guys. Shout out to Groggy Pack Entertainment as well.
Hmm.
I wanted to say, okay, Screaming on the Block as well as Ninth Floor. Honestly, they do sound similarly alike. I feel like because it shows a
Conceptually, not
lot.
be wise.
Right? No, conceptually, it just I feel like that's where I'm at, like mentally. So it's like the point of not giving a fuck. Like, so I remember even talking to well, even with Wild Style, like when going into a Sega AM2 era, like Wild Style, I needed a beat that almost sounded almost just as gritty, like to kind of like a standpoint. When I did Screaming on the Block, though, I remember I saw a post early morning from JHershey. This is like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is that beat? Yo, I need that beat. You remember that
Yeah,
comment? I'm like, I need that beat. And we do this shit almost all the time.
Give me that
But I'm
shit.
like, yo, I need that
crazy.
beat.
Yeah.
I need just like that. He
Yeah.
sends me the beat, and I remember like the first verse, I literally sat there for like an hour and a half, or it didn't take me long. It took me I was supposed to go to the store to get some Nas.
Classic.
Funny thing. I sat in my car, right? I got in the car, drove to the store. You know, I usually go to the store. Drove to the store, sat in the parking lot, and did not get out my car until I finished the first verse.
The
And then
challenge.
wrote the chorus. And once I was done with the chorus, I went inside, got my Nas, and then I remember calling him
Yeah.
and showing him the first
Nah, yeah,
verse.
nah, when I,
Pre
yeah,
Nos AWOL writing a verse.
nah, word.
Rare.
Nah,
If y'all
And I
don't
think
know,
he was at
AWOL
work
drinks a
that
lot of
morning.
Nos.
nah, yeah, like,
He
I
needs
Yeah,
to
remember
be
that,
sponsored.
that beat was definitely a beat that I knew. I was like, oh, this beat is crazy. Like, when I was done with it, I was like, oh, this is hard. This beat is, it's infectious. And I made a video. I used to make a lot of videos, back then to put on Instagram to promote beats, and like that one was going
Hmm.
crazy. So when he said he wanted it, I was like, yes. I was like,
Hell
definitely use
yeah.
this because I feel like this shit could be a hit. And like when he recorded it, and like when I heard that chorus, I was like, oh no, yeah, this is one of like this got to be like the lead single of whatever we do next because it's
Hmm.
still just an idea. We knew we was gonna do another project after Sega AM2. After
I remember
the
this
reception
shit.
that we got,
Oh,
we knew we were gonna do another one. But like, say, Screaming on the Block was like, I knew that was gonna be probably the best, like not the best, but the biggest song off the.
That felt like a hit to y'all.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
like
Screaming Down the Block, yeah.
honestly, like I remember like listening to it, like like writing it and telling Jay Hershey, "Yo, I think this is it." I was saying it. I'm like, "Yo, I think this is gonna be this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the single that's gonna blow me up." I remember that conversation,
yeah.
but I felt like that for every time I wrote something like that. Like I
I
had
feel like
this
you have
thought. I'm
that
like,
feeling with
"It's gonna
every
be a
single
hit.
track that Jay Hershey
Watch,
gives
this
you.
is gonna be a hit." And I remember like the formulation of how I wrote it, I literally was tapping into elements I didn't think I was ever gonna tap into. Like I was talking about my past.
Hmm.
Right around the time before the GBA cartridge. Finally left Bosie's graduated retard ed. Damn it, Dreamcast really had to see it. I didn't think this is 2001, so I'm thinking I didn't think I was gonna tap into that. I go so far that I try to like veer away from that time of my life, even though it's like for me, in my head, the best time of my life.
It could be
So
healing
maybe
for
that's
you to
why I
talk
wrote it
about,
too.
though.
I wrote it in a sense of because like I really, 2001 was a crazy year. So Aaliyah died. Sega, stopped making systems. Game Boy Advance came out, blew
Oh,
up, and blew up out the water, like out the water. I started middle school that year. My mom's just, there's a lot of great things that
Yeah.
happened that year. I think I'm, yeah, man, it's been so many things, so many things. But tapping into when I listened to the beat, I just felt like I had to tap into something, like not something, but I had to
right.
and it didn't take me that long.
Came.
I just
Just flowed.
right around the time before the GBA cartridge, and then that's when it took off.
Word.
That's
Those are the
amazing.
first lines.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about JHershey's beats that allows you to tap in to more personal storytelling?
That's a good question.
Um,
Because there's a lot of
we go
old
through a
school
lot.
vibes.
We discuss a lot of, see, before anything is finalized entirely, we do talk about things, we communicate. One thing I love about Jay Hershey and his chemistry is the fact that we can communicate with each other. Not saying that a lot of producers or MCs don't or can't, and or they lack that aspect, that aspect, and
Mm-hmm.
as far as chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the way that we blend. It's like, what I mean. There is one point in time I was telling Jay Hershey how to make the beat, and I remember him laughing it off. And I remember at one point I used to kind of get annoyed by it in the very beginning. In the very beginning, I used to get annoyed by it, like this thing is about to be one of these niggas, all right. But then I started listening, and I would write anyway. Like I would just write anyway to the beat, but then tell him, yo, you need to fix that. You really need to.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking. I'm not gonna lie. Everything's perfect. I'm like, right, exactly. I'll accept it. I'll take the beat, but you better fix this little error. This little, it's off beat, or it's a little, it's off
Mm-hmm.
tempo. You need to fix that. It's always like these little nooks and crannies, like in the very beginning, but then it ended up being happy mistakes. Shout out Bob
And that's
Ross.
that's how the beats were
Happy
made.
mistakes,
It's
man.
like I would know what he was telling me to fix, but like the way I make beats, the way I make the beat, it's not the typical way other people make the beat. It's not like I not to like
Like your process isn't as like, okay, we start with this layer
yeah.
and then this layer and
Yeah,
this
it's
layer.
kind of like I'm collecting a bunch of loops together, and then I
You're
record it.
collaging.
Yeah, I record it on my SP, so it's like I can't necessarily go back and just fix it. So it's like when he's telling me that, I'm kind of like, we used to get back and forth, like, yo, bro, now you got to make it
Sorry,
work.
AWOL, he's analog.
It's like, yeah, but now you got to make it work, man. But it is happy mistakes because even when I made it, I might fuck something up. I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. But I listen to it later, I'll be like, oh, that should sound dope though, because it's not the typical quantized
Right.
the shit that
Mm-hmm.
someone might expect. Like a lot of my beats, I'm aware that some of my beats are like hard to rap to. Like I've been told that before. Like
Because it's
more
so
so in the
mixed
beginning,
media.
it's like a lot going
So
on. Like shit's
sample.
changing and
Yeah.
chops is like coming random. But he always made when Wild Style, the joint that one of the joints I first heard him do, like the way he rapped,
Oh
the
yeah.
way he was rapping, and like he made space for the part.
The first letter, the
Yeah,
A in your head,
yeah,
like,
like he was
that's
rapping.
what got that.
Yeah. He was rapping
I'm
around the
sorry.
sound effects and around me put in the big L, I got the wild style. Like he made that the chorus, but that was already in the beat. Like so like from the beginning
Mm.
he was making the beat
Morphing it.
work to his rap style. And that's kind of like it was part of it. It was a natural thing.
Working in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. So like
Yeah.
it was natural. So like even like as later, later once I remember specifically the last time I remember you really saying that shit about me fucking up was a crazy taxi. And I was like, nah, bro, I'm telling you it's fine.
Yeah. Yes. That was
I
my
told you,
next
I'm
one.
telling you this shit is fine. And when he was done with Crazy Taxi, I'm like, yo, that sounds perfect to me. And that's one of my favorite
And it
tracks.
worked.
That's one of my
I'm
favorite
so
tracks.
glad that you mentioned Crazy
Yeah.
Taxi because, AWOL, you're gonna have to spill the tea. I know the story behind this
Oh,
track.
shit.
It's your heavy. It's honestly like the heaviest track
Right.
on this record. It
Absolutely.
also sounds like it's a splitter. Like the first
Yes.
part of the track is a little different than the second part of the track.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, but I feel like I'm in the car with you when you're rapping about Crazy Taxi. Um, You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I feel like it's such a heavy hitter in the record, like how the record flows. And it's not necessarily about gaming or anything like that. So I feel like it's kind of an important one to talk about, like where you were at
Okay.
when you were writing that song. Because I think we were talking like off screen, and you were talking about how like you didn't even think you were gonna put this song on the record, and it just ended up being on the record. So definitely want to hear your thoughts on it.
All right. So in the beginning, I remember when the beat is actually it's a little old. Uh After my acts, all right, well let's talk about that actually.
Give the context.
So no, I'm gonna break it down for you right
Yeah.
now. So in December 9th, 2020, I got into a near fatal car accident. Um I literally just hopped in the car, to go to the store with this guy who was my super of apartment I was staying at. Fortunately, there were some underlying things about him, such as his drug and alcohol abuse. And long story short, um, I ended up flying out of a windshield, going to the store, and passing the store at 125 miles an hour through a windshield. And when everything was done, um, I was found upside down on my neck with my right shin split in half, my left ring finger pushed in, my my eye basically split. Um, my my spleen was ruptured. I have a metal titanium. I have a titanium rod in my leg. It's a lot.
It's fucked up.
Um, so in the process of healing, which is crazy, um, I was going through it. I remember like maybe a few months after I got out the hospital, I went to PA. JHershey sends me the beat. So I was seeing a girl at the time in PA, in Washington, PA, and shout out Samantha. And we were talking, and like while we were like hanging out, I kept listening and playing the beat back, playing the beat back. And I'm trying to catch a feel because like I know what I want to talk about. Like this is the perfect beat for me, but I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I remember even going back and forth bantering with Jay Hershey about it. So later on, some time passes. Maybe this is like last year. I was going through a lot of turmoil in between my healing process with my super, based on, obviously me, having to put him through litigations based on what he did. And, you know, it was hard, man. It was hard. I couldn't put hands on him, I wanted to strangle him. I wanted to do any and everything to get revenge. And, for him to look me in my eye and not even apologize, and to even throw the blame on me, and to flip the script on me the way he did and still does, you know, it was disheartening. It was traumatic. It was a lot. I'm literally like living, in my household for 1 month with one arm, one leg. It was a tough process. Writing the song, it it took me back. Like, and I really I didn't want to talk about it. I think I talked to you guys about it. I didn't want to put that shit like in the
You just wanted to
outlet.
move past it.
Right.
Yeah, I
I
remember.
wanted to wait until the time, better times come for me to talk about it, if I were on or whatever. That's how I used to think. And then, I say, you know what, fuck it. So I wrote the song. I decided to call it Now Loading because originally that was the process of Sega AM2 and Sega AM2 Part 2. Whilst in my coma and before the accident, I had given an engineer like everything, all the tracks to Sega AM2, the EP. So mind you, the accident happened before I gave it to him before the accident, months before the accident, and even during and after the accident, it still wasn't touched. So I
It was like
almost literally
backburnered.
died, and Sega AM2 Part 1 and 2 would have never came out.
Or,
Mhm.
So when I digress that this album was really on life and death. It wasn't just that like it wasn't just the album, it was the EP, and it was me too. And us.
Mhm.
JHershey, us.
I remember
So
I remember you saying to me that even though the accident was fucked up, that like it reinvigorated you to go out on your own and do music over again, like start from scratch.
yeah, like well,
It brought you back in. You had something, you had a lot to say, not just because of the accident, but you know, I feel like it was a chance to start over.
right.
I almost quit.
Nah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
No,
He
for
was trying to
real.
quit. And we already like he said, we already done the EP. We connected, we built, we had the good times in
Mhm.
the studio. And then he got into that situation. And like I could even tell, like, just from my outsider perspective, I'm like, damn, I could see he's really like discouraged about this shit right now.
Mhm.
But the project was done, the EP was done. So I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
man, listen, bro, like we already recorded this, like let's just put it out and to the best of our ability to just market this shit. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where like
Mhm.
he
Don't
he,
sleep
he
on
he he
yourself.
knows like I'm a really strategically brained person. I'm like, yo, bro, we could really push this shit to where we could get people that understand the type of stuff that you're talking about. We
True
put that
friend.
out. We put that out, and like the reception was good. You know what I mean? Like it got a buzz, and I feel like once that happened, it was like, yo, we got to keep doing this shit. You know what I mean? And like
Build
he
off of that
said,
shit.
he already had the Crazy Taxi beat. I believe he had NBA Jam as well. So these was like the
Another
Actually,
bop, another
that's what I
bop.
wanted to talk
favorite
about.
song.
While I was in my coma,
Yeah.
or I was coming out of my coma, maybe
Mhm.
like 2 days in,
Mhm.
or the day after, I rehearsed NBA Jam.
Wow, I didn't know
Word.
that.
And like that was the first joint I heard him do when he came out the hospital. So as like our first
Yeah,
session
like
back,
post.
like he played that and like in the studio I'm listening to that.
I said it. I'm like, yo, let's go.
Yeah.
I said, I'm like, yo, let's
Yeah, and
go.
I'm listening
Yeah.
to that in the studio on the speaker. I'm like, oh shit! Like, I'm just like,
I love
damn.
NBA
And in my
Jam.
head, I'm like, yo, bro, this whatever we're about to do next is about to be like the first EP, but just times 10 because he was flowing on
That's how
that.
I
The
feel.
bars
It's a
on it, like yeah, I
response.
feel like NBA
Yeah.
Jam really exemplifies that because he's just in his bag with the flow and the pocket, you know
Mhm.
and like and then obviously we just script on the block later. So at that point, I'm like, nah, bro, we gotta like make this a whole album.
Momentum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the momentum was there, like, and nobody even knows
Yeah.
this shit. But I'm just saying, like, like I could just feel it. I'm like, nah, dude, like, because people was still coming up to me that whole time period, like, yo, that project that you dropped with AWOL is hard. Like, people that don't know AWOL, they just know me from my beat tapes. So like, yo, this is because people been waiting for
Mhm.
me to work with a rapper. So it was like, yo, this is dope.
But this is
Yeah.
something
And so like while
different.
we're working on part two, I'm
This
like,
is
yo, this one's
different.
about to be even crazy. I'm telling everybody that. Everybody's coming up to me now. I'm like, yo, wait till you hear the next shit. Like,
You're like, we're already on our next
yeah,
shit.
no, no, no. It's crazy. It's crazy that you said next because that's really how it is. Like, even he
No,
knows once part
I
two's
totally get
out.
it.
I'm basically saying the same shit again. I'm saying the same shit now. I'm like, yo, wait till you hear the next shit. Like, yeah. So it's like, so
I
it's really
have
like that, but it's organic. And part two took so long because that's a whole
the
But no,
yeah,
part two
features,
took long
bro.
because of part one.
yeah.
Like part one, honestly, if like
Part one
I'm
was
gonna
supposed
be
to be out a
honest,
year
man.
earlier, and so was part two.
I'm
It's like,
I'm just gonna say it, man. Like honestly, like the last engineer, what I mean, just straight up and down, never hire family, man. Never hire family.
I'm
That's just all I'm
hip.
gonna say. Because
Business and
literally,
pleasure,
I
family and
almost
business.
died and almost
right.
delayed. Sega AM2 Part 2 and Part 1 would have never even. It was. I say this,
That's
man.
true.
That was literally my Final Fantasy. Sega AM2 was literally my Final
That's true.
Fantasy. Like not even Part 2. Sega AM2 the
Yeah.
EP
Yeah.
was my Final Fantasy because that's what's really that project alone is what made me like revamp
Yeah.
like my whole
And
everything. Cause I needed to start something different, like start something over, but just still be
Mm-hmm.
me, like rebrandish,
yeah.
like my name
Your
and
name,
kind
your
of polish it up a
logo,
lot
Yeah.
better.
your
And
aesthetic.
Nah, yeah, it's true.
no group,
True, yeah, because
no.
just to like again from like an outside perspective, like I saw it, like he went through some shit with his previous group, he went through some shit with his family, he went through the access, so it was a lot. Like the cards were really stacked to say,
Couldn't catch a break.
yeah, the cards were really
Couldn't
stacked to
catch
say,
a
like I
fucking
was with him
break.
because I was excited, like we recorded it, I'm like this is dope, we agreed on the concept and like it was like we were at the mixing phase and paused for like a year. And even in my head, I'm like, I can't guess this shit not dropping. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I'm like, I guess this shit's not fucking dropping.
Oh, I remember talking to AWOL and being like,
Yeah,
when is this coming out?
right. Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
And then we had
waiting.
dropped G and Rogan, and people was
G and
loving that.
Rogan was a
People was
smash.
loving
That
that.
that
People
was
was
what made
definitely
me
loving that.
itch for the
My friends
EP.
bump that to this day.
Ian
Yeah, my friends bump.
Rogan was yo
G and Rogan
man.
is such a smash. I played it for a couple of friends and they were like, why do I feel like I already know this song?
Yo,
Like not like they've heard it before, but
you,
the retro aesthetic
yo,
and the flow style, you connect
no,
instantly.
that's
It's like you
that's like
tap in so quick.
the recurring like thing I feel like a lot of people say. It's like your song just gives me like that feeling, like some like it's like a retro,
It
like you
takes me
said, the
back.
retro
It's
aesthetic.
Big
nostalgic.
It's over the
time.
vaporwave, like that was one of the
The
things too. That was
vaporwave,
one of the
dude.
things too.
Yeah.
Like we're going back now. It's like that's one of the things too. It's like I was telling him about that. I'm like, yo, you know what vaporwave is? And he's like, nah. So I literally explained it
Have
to
you
him.
heard of Macintosh Plus
Yeah,
Floral
exactly. I
Shop?
literally showed him.
No,
Bitch.
but
I
that's not
literally showed it.
yeah.
We were in the studio. I'm showing him Macintosh Plus, and it's crazy because we had like this like purple like I was talking about this shit. We had like this purple light in the studio and shit. Like it just looked all like synth wavy 80s whiskey.
Cyber
Yeah.
as fuck
And I literally
retro.
was telling him like,
Yeah.
yo, me and my bro, shout out Just Kev, that's my bro,
Shout out
we
Just
were we
Kev,
were trying to
yeah.
do a project together, a vaporwave project, and I don't even want to give away the name, but it's crazy because even the name,
Don't
which
give it
yeah, I'm
away.
not,
Don't give it
but
away.
even the name is crazy because let's just say it fits the concept of being an AWOL guy, and we had that before I even met AWOL, so that just goes to show you the connection.
Dude,
But like,
when
yeah,
I heard Jane Rogan, I
yeah.
literally was like, this is some retro wave, vaporwave
Oh
shit.
yeah, so like literally, I
Like
have this shit. Yeah,
it when it was coming back, because vaporwave is kind of like it's
yes,
like mall wave. It's kind of old, but
yes,
people were starting to do like 80s flips
right,
of like pop music and things
yeah,
like that, and it was
But
so
they can't
popular
do
on
it.
YouTube.
yeah.
So
Some
when I
people
heard
can't.
Gian
Maybe
Rogan,
knowledge, but some people can't do it
No,
like
but
that.
you're right. Like it was kind of like you could say vaporwave was
it was having a resurgence
yeah,
when you
because
guys put that
it's
out.
basically a meme genre, right? That came out like 2010. So I'm explaining that to him, like, yo, like this
Literally
shit is crazy. Like, you never heard of this shit? I'm showing him Macintosh
untapped.
Plus. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's like a whole meme that came out 2010. But like, as I'm showing him it, I'm like going through my SP, like, yeah, but I'm actually trying to make some because I fuck with it. I kind of want to make a
Hmm.
beat tape, kind of bringing it
That
back,
like down
doing my way,
tempo
yeah.
VHS,
So
fucking yeah.
I'm playing the loop, and it originally was gonna be a fast, like kind of future funk, but it was the same loop. And then he was
Hmm.
like I played it in the studio. He was like, yo, slow that down. You know what I mean? So slowed it down or whatever. And then E-Man was there too. And we're all just like, oh wait, this shit sound crazy. But that day,
And
like that exact day, they recorded that.
Drive
Yeah,
Mega
and that
2
was
was in that
definitely
shit,
a
yeah.
milestone in like our shit. It was like, yo,
I
this
feel like that's what
fire.
really popped you guys off.
Yes, yes, J Rogan. We
You
can't
got
really forget that.
E-Man
We
who
can't forget that.
introduced you to AWOL
Yes.
rapping on the
Yeah.
track. You got AWOL rapping on the track, and you have the
Yeah.
vaporwave weird retro
Yes.
game. It still gave gamer.
No, yeah, it did. It reminded me of
Reminded
being
It
me.
in the
still gave the
arcade.
video
Like
game
it just
vibe.
reminded me of being in an arcade and like I don't know, two dudes just bust out
You're
rapping
at
and
the
shit. Like
mall,
yeah, facts. Yeah,
2002,
yeah. And
Like
he
not to
with
he
fucking
your
put
with your
me
white
on.
cup with the
Comatose?
blue
Like a little
Yeah,
blue
what?
logo.
yeah. Like and it was such a he's such a creative person because like he had the whole he like instantly thought about. He's like yo G and Rogan, and he had to tell me because I know House of the Dead. I know that game. I played that game. I've now beaten that game.
Welcome to the House of
Yeah,
the Dead.
I've not beaten that game,
Yeah.
but like, but he had to put me on like, oh, those are the main characters from the game. Like, oh shit, and then he's basically like he explained the concept. Like, yeah, me and E-Man are GM Rogan. Like he just said it. Like he made up the whole concept right there. I'm like, that's dope. I'm just there like that's hard. And E-Man was there
That's
too.
the
They
thing.
both did their
Awol
verses
will
right
come to you
there,
with a
and I was
visual.
like, this shit is
Yeah.
crazy. So that was definitely
No, I
painted the
remember
street.
like doing the half. I did my
Yeah, where
half,
yeah, and then
and
E-Man picked it up.
Jay was like, "Yo, you can record."
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"All
Then
right."
E-Man picked it up,
I was
and
like,
it naturally became a tag team track. I'm like, oh no, this is dope, man. This is dope. So yeah,
It was
like I was discouraged about it at first because E-Man and I never really rapped on a song before.
mhm.
So I mean, we've been in the same, we've
You've been
been
working together
around,
for
but
years, just never had anything laid down yet.
right. So it was a little weird. Like, all right, his style and my style is a little
It's
different.
not the
So it's
same.
it's
like,
yin and yang.
how is this gonna
Yeah,
work? And then literally when I came in recording, my Johnson rocking bitches off the comatose, nugget roll, shut your mouth, bitch, I'm on the phone. You need to, yo. When I recorded that, and then once I heard it, I'm like, all right, let me see what what E-Man
yeah,
has. E-Man killed it. I
yeah.
said,
Nah,
oh
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And once he did that, it's like, yeah, we're in. Now we're in. And that's when I started going in.
Stone Cold, did he
That's
cold stone
awesome.
in the cold stone? Like when he said
Cold
that shit, I was like,
Stone, yep.
oh no,
That shit is
I
hard.
was
That shit
like,
is
oh
hard.
no. And it was perfect because
Okay,
like
I got.
he got the deep
Oh,
voice
go
and
ahead.
then E-Man got the light voice, so it was like about it's like yin and
It's
yang
a
on the
nice
track. Yeah, so I was
balance.
like, this is dope. Now,
And you're both like 90s New York about it,
yeah, word.
which is very fun.
Yeah,
Like you're still very different, but it's like you're in the same like era, which
facts.
is very
Yeah,
fun to listen to.
yeah,
I got two more songs that I want to hear breakdowns of because
sure.
I feel like I haven't heard anyone kind of break down these songs. So one of my favorite songs that has been on repeat, it literally lives rent free in my mind. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Pounds,
Mm,
and I'm gonna name a line that I think is so fucking funny, and it's kind of speaks
Pounds,
to
bro.
AWOL's personality and the fact that he's fucking hilarious and will roast you at any given moment, okay? And you probably already know what I'm about to say. Yeah, I couldn't trust that stupid bitch that had my reefer rolled. Boring basic bitch in Alaska. That shit's
That shit's
remedial.
remedial.
Every time I hear that bar, I'm like, this is fucking hilarious, dude. This is the funniest shit ever because it sounds like something you would say in reality. Like when you're with your homies and you're like, damn, the significant other is like pissing me the fuck off. Like they're this, that, and the other, just like venting to your homies about a girl or a guy or whatever the fuck, whatever person that you're seeing, you're like, boring basic bitch in Alaska, that shit's remedial, like blah blah blah. Like I felt like you were just like, and you slipped it in because the whole song isn't even about that boring basic bitch in Alaska. It's there's so much in that song, and then you just slip that in and you move on. And that is like probably one of my favorite things about that song is that you talk your shit, but then you're like, anyways.
Yeah, word facts. That, that's
Boom.
so fair. That's
I,
a great breakdown from the listener's perspective, honestly.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's not even
yeah, I
that
did
line
that.
just makes me laugh, but I really do want to hear about Pounds because Pounds also has like beautiful instrumentation, honestly, Hershey, like the bells in the beginning
Word.
where it's like da,
Yeah, yeah,
da,
no, I
da,
appreciate
da.
that.
Like those bells in the beginning, they really like
Yeah. That's so
it takes you into this like 40s kind of like lounge
yeah,
vibe.
yeah, yeah. And then the drums come in,
You know what I mean? Like 40s lounge vibe. And then it's like AWOL's being like, anyways,
yeah.
like I'm just gonna put bars over this, but yeah, let's talk about Pounds. Why is it called Pounds? Like, what is it about to
It's
you?
getting pounds up that Lostboro
Oh yeah,
sound over niggas' heads while I'm in the
yeah.
underground.
So it's like, yeah, and
That,
I love that.
everywhere I go, solid off the metal
Yeah,
gear.
Mm-hmm.
Give 3 cheers to the illest niggas here.
hooray. Now, what do you call like?
It's
I
your
love that.
heyday. It's honestly your heyday.
Yeah, I
Like,
love that hook
you're
because of
just
the
so
wordplay. It's crazy. LBS,
the wordplay is
All right,
yeah,
dummy.
Lost Borough Sound.
Um,
let's talk. Let's talk about the first verse, and then the chorus, and then I'm gonna
yeah,
break it down. Break down the second verse real quick.
yeah,
All right, so basically, the first verse, I was talking about. I'm able to kind of out of my mind from the strongest of islands and genuine when I rhyme. If you get out of line, I trick that jet of mine while I'm bound by design, and in retaliation, eradicate. But it's like I was just all right. So it's like
gassed,
normal me.
fully
Like I'm a nice
gassed.
guy. Yeah, like I'm a nice guy. You know, I'm I'm a nice dude. Some people just play games. So eventually, all right, you want to play games? All right, I'm gonna flip the script. Like I'm gonna make you think that you have me. Yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden, when we get there, you're like, oh, so now it's like I unfold your plan. Oh, it's what you want to do? Bah! My one punch man will leave you flying in the skies, zooming past the orbit, man. You won't believe your eyes. Yeah, because a lot of yeah, man. I mean, I don't like talking about my knockout stories, but for some of those knockout stories, I have a few of them. So, and
We're trying to keep you
I
looking
don't.
innocent over here.
No,
But
that's
you know,
real
you know what
shit
it
though,
is though.
because
You know what it is. They want to cut you off, but you know what I feel like it is. It's like we come from. The song is about us. Well, he's a rapper, but like me and him, like we're from Long Island, so Long Island is a place that's kind of looked at by other New Yorkers as not like we're not as hard as the other
ain't
boroughs. You
shit.
know what I mean? So
Yeah, you're not part of the scene.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, part of
Yeah,
the scene. So it's like
like
he's coming
we
out the
get played
gate
on.
like I'm kind of out of my mind from the strong as the islands and genuine when I rhyme, and that's really what it is. And if you and we always talk about this, and I feel like we said it in I feel like he said it in every interview, and I say it when people talk to me. But it's like if you look at history, Long Island has the most unique rappers. Like they may not be talking the most gangster shit, but they're the most unique. They had De La Soul, Public Enemy, EPMD, people like that. So
Hmm.
But
we're part of the MF Doom, Rock Marciano. We're part of that. So
third
yeah,
It's
base,
like, don't
Webster,
fucking forget.
yeah, exactly, exactly. You know what I mean? And niggas is
and
crazy.
Busta
It's like
Rhymes,
niggas is crazy.
and you gotta
But
understand this shit too. It's not just like it's not just. Never mind what I was saying earlier, or not just never mind, but it's the it's the enrichment of where we come
facts.
from. A
Right.
lot of people
Yeah.
forget that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people would think I get compliments or comments thinking that I'm from another state
Yeah.
or another city. And I tell cats, yo, son, I'm from Long Island, guy. Nah, man, nah. Even out here right now in LA, I have no problem telling you, yo, from LI to LA.
Right.
It's where, you know what I mean? I'm
Hmm.
I'm good everywhere I stay. And I only say that I say it confidently because a lot of people be in New York or come from New York, and we don't obviously have the best reputation in a lot of places or a lot of states. We get the rah-rah
Right.
reputation. Coming from where we're from, we're looked at as, if you watch the movie Class Act, like there was Play, he was like the gangster dude, and then there was Kid, he was like the genius, sheltered, not homeschool, but well, great student. Right. So it's like where we come from, a lot of people would really think that it's just like, oh, wishy-washy. Like, it's like, oh, it's all like
Right.
I don't
clean,
recognize
pristine,
that.
and it's
Yeah.
not. Long Island is not just that. We come from hardships too and shit. Not saying that we come from harder ships than other people, but we have our story too. And a lot of people would sleep on Long Island and just our way, our culture of Long
It really
Island.
is
Like you
the
would
lost
think that
borough.
it's shit that you catch on Jersey Shore or some shit. This is not something you catch on Jersey Shore. Like so even as and now on the music side, on the artistic side, we don't get a lot of credit. We don't get a lot of credit for anything.
Right.
You know what I'm
But we
saying?
should.
So that's why I
Like,
say, right, like from music to art to film
undisputed
to restaurants,
legend.
7-Eleven. 7-Eleven started in fucking Long Island.
Like,
Yeah, for all
Have
those
some
what?
fucking
Yeah, you want to talk shit about
respect.
Long Island?
Put some
Remember
respect on
7-Eleven,
that name.
motherfuckers.
now it's real talk though. Like it's not
Yeah.
undisputed legends, So I feel like I was glad that we got that track because it was like we need a Long Island.
I didn't know that's what it was about. So that's actually really refreshing to hear because I'm like, you're spitting right now.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Lost Borough Sound. LBS. That's pounds.
Hmm.
We're
Yeah,
getting
getting
pounds off
pounds
the
off the
Lost
Lost
Borough
Borough
Sound.
Sound.
I every time I hear Lost Borough, like that's like AWOL's fucking
Yeah.
motto.
Nah,
He's
yeah, nah,
like,
nah.
I'm fucking
And
from
I
here,
fuck with
dude.
that because like I when I was a kid, I moved to Long Island from Queens, and I feel like for I'll be honest, like a good portion of like high school, it was kind of like I didn't want to like say
Be
that.
from there.
Yeah, but then as
Yeah.
I got older, I was like, nah, that's fucking stupid because it's like there's so much. As I got more into hip hop, it's like there's so many legends from here, like like De La Soul and Rakim, MF Doom. These are
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
three of my favorite musicians to listen to. Just as an
EPMD.
example. So and Busta Rhymes.
Chill from House Party. Chill from House Party is from Long
And
Island.
Busta Rhymes, of
Yeah,
course, so
but
or
you know what I'm saying? There's
You heard it
mad
here first, y'all.
not fact.
yo. So I'm gonna say this too, man. Like a lot of like not even just rappers produce. Yo, we have so much love
So
like
much
on Long
talent.
Island that we don't. And another thing is Long Island is a little selfish. That's one thing I see too. Like, everyone thinks that they're the best on the island and everything. And it becomes a little redundant in the sense of if you're not really doing anything for you and your community, how are you the best on Long Island? Or how what makes you the best? Because I didn't hear of you until someone else spoke of you, and you're talking all these big things, but you're still performing in like small ass like 6x8 room events. You're right
Hmm.
though.
Yeah,
So like, and I like to just say that where we come from, man, like we want to excel bigger than
yeah,
that because obviously, again, we don't again, Long Island gets a little bit of credibility, and I feel like from Method Man to like Rakim to what I mean? Hell, even Granddaddy IU, RIP Granddaddy IU.
Biz
A lot of
Markie,
cats come
R.I.P.
from Long Island and don't get the recognition that we deserve. So Long Island Pound is more of like I guess an underground anthem for me because or for us because it's showing out where we come from besides like Strong Island Sound or what's that De La Soul song? I can't forget. I just had it in my head
Long
too.
Island degree.
But right, Long Island.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more about it's not just Long Island degrees, and that's real shit.
yeah.
But it's like we want to just show people too, man. It's not about where you come from. It's where you at too.
That's a fact.
That's amazing. I
So
love that.
and the third the second verse was about the Devola Booth. She's a Legion. Her lips on a pipe getting DP in uneven holes and sucked a lot of dick to pain. She never even cope. 37 only per diem, and she's even broke.
We love a roast. We love a full, funny ass roast from AWOL.
No word.
Don't
I
don't don't
mean,
Yeah,
uh
you know what
don't
it
get
is,
on
man.
AWOL's bad side.
No, that's a fact. That song
shoulda
is
never
really
did me dirty,
that song is really like
Devola.
that song is really like just chilling with the homies, just talking shit and just being
Talking
proud
your
that
shit.
we all here just having a good time. Like I feel like that's what that song really represents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
If I can detail like anything that I do as far as rap or hip hop, I try to make the best out of a bad situation.
Word.
Like,
Yeah.
and
And
as
that's
much as it is
apparent
very
in
serious,
every
that's
song.
yeah.
There's
I
always
mean,
a
it's
light.
the
There's always a way
misadventures,
out.
man. It's the misadventures. Think about it. Think about it. Tiny Toons Adventures, I'm just naming so many cartoons right now from my childhood. Rocko's Modern Life. I so many so many episodes will show you that there's people that have bad days, have bad episodes, and turn into a good situation. Even if the ending might be a little bad, you might not know what happens next. That just is when you see the shit zero in out, or
Mm-hmm.
like when it fades out, when a cartoon or something fades out, it's just a to be continued, or it's ending right now
Mm-hmm.
until the next. So
You move
that's just
on.
like life. It's like
Yeah.
life, man. And I just learned how to turn this shit out of the best out of a bad situation. And for everything that I went through, not even just like musically, like just whatever. Like
Personally.
you just try to you know, I turn shit to flowers.
Word.
That's
So
beautiful. And I think that's what makes you so relatable is that you're just like, man, there's all this shit going on, but I'm good on it. I'm gonna get through it and I'm a vibe regardless. Like that is something that I really enjoy about your music. But the last and final song I want to hear a breakdown for is Character Select because y'all are insane for that shit. 7 features on a track. You got Afro, Adam Max, Awol Da Mindwriter, Drive Mega, Emmanuel, Hirsch, King NZ, and Mr. Motherfucking Esquire.
Word.
How the fuck did
Yeah.
y'all wrangle people for that shit? First and
Okay.
foremost.
shout out
Know
Drive
that
Mega
shit
too,
took
because he
fucking
helped
forever
bring that.
to fucking get on
Yeah.
just for that shit. That
Yes,
song is
it
like
did.
70%
Yes,
of the
it
reason
did.
why so Sega AM2 Part 1 got delayed because of all the like the real life shit. Sega AM Part 2 was delayed because of character select. It's like and also real
Trying to
life
wrangle
shit.
7 rappers to rap
But
their fucking section?
absolutely worth
It's like
it. Like
trying to
Yeah.
wrangle any fucking
Working
musician.
on
People be flaky as
schedules.
fuck.
I'm sorry. working on different schedules, like people going on
Yeah,
tour or
facts.
doing shows, working, real life shit. You
Yeah,
know,
life
we
shit.
had to
Yeah,
excuse that.
Absolutely.
And especially with me, because I was going through my recovery, so that was
Yeah.
hard.
But absolutely
yeah.
glad we did it. You know, honestly, I can honestly say a year later, worth the wait. You know, so many people love
It's a
that shit.
7 minute track, y'all.
Yeah,
Like it's bars on bars on bars on
word. It
bars,
just,
and I feel like every time I listen to it, I'm like, who's my favorite character in this
nah,
song?
word.
You know,
But
there's so much personality in each person's parts.
word. That's a fact. But like, if I could give my perspective of how it came together, it was like, you know, Drive Mega. You know, that's a producer that's very, you know, very dope. He's down with us. He's part
Discreet.
of our team.
Yeah.
You know, he's also like minded like us. You know, and like me and him, we kind of wanted to recreate the G and Rogan feel. It was originally supposed to be kind of like a spiritual sequel to G and Rogan, and like once we made the beat, it was like, oh, this shit is crazy. And then, you know, AWOL was like, now this shit should be a posse cut because E-Man was already with it, and it was like, yo, we should get more people on this. And then honestly, it just
They
went from
don't do it
there.
like that anymore.
It just went from there. We were just sending it to different people, like, yo, if you want to get on this, let's see what's up, and when we went through a couple different, kind of, I feel like drafts you could say of
Iterations.
who to get on it, but I can speak for me. NZ, King NZ, that's my guy. You know, me and him did an album in 2021, the JNZ, that was also very well received, and I was like, yo, this would be dope because that would expose, people, NZ's people, fans, and all that supporters to AWOL and vice versa. So I wanted to get him on it. E Man was obviously a given. And then Adam Max, he's returning from the first project. He was on Pilot Kids. He had one of my favorite verses on Pilot Kids. So I'm like, yo, I definitely want to get Adam on this shit. And when we was hanging out with Adam, we did a show with Adam. So he had heard the beat and he was just freestyling over it. And I was like, yeah, he need to be on this shit. Because Adam just talks that shit, you know what I mean? He's big Long Island, and like, so it was like, where we got to get Adam on it. So we got Home Team on it. We got a dude that I feel like I kind of helped introduce to people, King NZ, on it. And then from there it was like, yo, we need some, like, well, not need, but AWOL was like, yo, this is a good opportunity to get some, some high profile features. And then he threw out Esquire and Afro. I believe Afro was the first person he threw out. He introduced me to Afro.
I remember Afro loving G and Rogan.
No, that's a fact. Yeah, he introduced me to Afro since to being G and Rogan. So I was like, that's dope because I
He
remember
like made a video
word.
like bopping to it.
Now
I
that's a
remember
fact. Yeah,
that.
like I remember I mean, not meeting. I remember listening to Afro like in high school when he was running around with Ari the Rugged Man. So I'm like, that's crazy that you know this dude. And he came to the studio one time. I'm like, yo, that's what's up. So when he said he was down to do it, I got hyped because I'm like, oh shit, Afro about to be on one of my shit. That's dope. And then it was Afro, and then last person was Esquire, and he had that connection too. And I'm like,
It
yo,
all
that's
just came
lit.
together.
That's fire. Because Esquire's
Yeah.
one of those people,
Like
yeah.
it was
Esquire's one of those people when we was talking about the
it,
vlog era shit. He put me on. I kind of miss Esquire, to be honest, but he put me on, and when I got into Esquire, I'm like, yo, this guy's music is sick. Like Black Mirror, the
Ooh,
Mad Lib
we're
shit,
getting a
that's one
little
of my
bit of a
favorite
glitch.
songs. So, oh, am I back?
Oh, you're back
yeah,
now.
you're back,
Okay,
you're
yeah,
back,
Yeah,
no,
you're
it
yeah.
back.
So
just
yeah,
glitched
yeah.
for half a second.
So
It's
long
fine.
story short, he put me on the Esquire a while back now, but when we were first getting together, he put me on the Esquire. I'm like, so I checked out Esquire. I'm like, Esquire is hard. Like I'm like to this day, I'm like kind of mad that I missed, like, hearing him back then. But when he came back and said, yo, I'm gonna
That
get
was a
him on the
great
track, I
era.
was like,
Shout out Mr.
if you could
Motherfucking
do that, that's
Esquire.
crazy. And then here we are, man. Here we are. Yeah, shout out Esquire, man.
Amazing.
That's definitely the dog. And he looked out a bunch of times. He hosted our show. He put me on his
Yes,
return
yes, he
show.
did. That's the
So
brethren.
big shout out to Esquire because nobody, he didn't have to do any of that. Like that's all off the strength of love and
And
respect. So shout out Esquire for real.
big shout out
Yeah,
to
shout out
Afro.
Afro. Shout out
Cause
everybody
real
in the
shit, Afro. Yeah, right. Cause shout out to Afro though, because Afro was on some shit, like busy as
yeah, word.
hell, with
And made
music
time
and
for it.
everything, and still came through with the double verse
Facts.
though.
Facts.
Like still came through, and he beside him and we got the shit for Afro
Yeah.
first, and we thought we would have to wait for Afro. Afro came in, but Esquire came in with the
Yeah, Esquire came in with the
boom.
last minute slam dunk because Adam, not to put him on blast, but Adam, it took a that not because of him though, but it took like a little while to get his verse. But like we got that, and it was like, we need one more because not to get into details, but certain other people kind of fell through. But
Yeah.
but then he brought it up. He's like, "Yo, Esquire," and like that's when I was like, I mean, shit. Like I knew he had a relationship with him, but in my head I was like, yo, I mean,
You're
if you
like,
could make that
we can go, be
happen,
cool.
that would be dope.
Yeah.
And it was like a week or so later, dude just sent me the voice message. Like he's like, yo, he sent the voice message. I just played. I'm like, oh, I just heard it, and then the Ball like 2K ever
My
since
one question though.
Daytona USA with the scheme he was doing. Like he
Oh my
Esquire is that
god,
video
that
game scheme that
scheme.
Esquire did is like that's probably the illest video game scheme I've heard.
That
And
was
I
the
listen to a
illest
lot
shit
of
I've ever.
video game rap. Put your quarter up, Doom and
Mm-hmm.
No,
Atmosphere,
that's that. No,
Benefit.
put your
That
quote out.
Esquire shit.
That was my shit,
That's a
baby.
fact. I put your quarter up in the Benefit World 1-1. I feel like Esquire's video game scheme was like on par with all of those, if not better. Like when I heard that verse, I'm like, and this is on our shit. I'm like, yo, like I was like, yeah, weird. Like, so like that track was dope. Yeah.
My question to y'all is, and this is the last question for character select.
Facts.
In the process of making character select, did everyone hear the verse before their verse?
No.
Or was it just like blank beat, give us whatever?
It was blank beat for everybody, pretty sure.
So no one heard each other's parts.
The niggas just went in. It's like
no, actually, wait. Actually,
that's kind of sick though.
Verse, but they didn't hear everybody else's verse.
So it was very secretive how it all came together. I love it.
Or
nah, like we sent them copies at first of just my verse without emails, without anyone. And then, because it was just a follow up after me and then we'll piece it together. But honestly, yeah, that process was scary.
That's slick as fuck.
It wasn't gonna work.
It was
like,
lot.
Okay, here's a blank template. Like,
we had to get people's verses, then we had to piece it, then we had to all those little tiny, sound effects and shit. That was like the very last minute. Like he was at my crib. We were like really like, yo, what do we want to put in this shit? Like the little details, I don't want to reveal too much, that's for people to really. That's honestly for the people like us.
Yeah, go listen to it, y'all. It's really like it's such a masterpiece.
I think we both me and Awol both geek out to this day about those little details. Like we'll hear it and be like, "Yo, we really did that shit," and it sounds
especially killed. We had AZ, yo, son.
Shout out Quells, man. Shout out Quells on the intro.
Yeah. Q11, shout out, Q11.
That shit is classic. Ladies and gentlemen.
There's a lot of legends on that shit. Niggas don't even know. That's why I be like, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all keep talking. Y'all don't know who was really on that record. Y'all don't know the process of what happened in that room.
Very fun record. Very glad we did it. Worth the wait. Honestly.
Yes. One of my favorite to date, the most talked about. Like
the most talked about. I feel like people are still talking about it, Awol.
Yeah.
Yo, that is the sequel to G and Rogan, low key.
Okay.
And it's something
that song was a sequel to G and Rogan.
And it's something that
but with everyone on it. It was like multiplayer. Like
it is some multiplayer ass shit. That's why I loved it. Right. But we are running out on time. It's been an hour and 18 minutes. I will say I love this deep dive. Obviously, like this record is chef's kiss. Y'all did an amazing job in combining so many cool retro sounds and boom bap and 90s styles without it being tired and done. Like Hersh, the production is immaculate. Like you did a really amazing job on this.
Yes, he is.
I'm dead ass serious. Like I will turn. Like if I'm in the car with people, I'm like, Sega AM2, and people are like, "Who is this?"
I appreciate that. It's a long time coming.
For the culture, like this shit is hard. Awol, thank you so much for coming on today and talking with me. Obviously, like I wasn't asking too many questions prior because I was like, I need to get the raw facts.
That's good.
I don't. Yeah.
That was good.
But thank you so much. Is there anything you guys want to say to the people?
I'm gonna say it.
Mm-hmm.
Desert Indica coming soon. So, yeah. Desert Indica coming soon. 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 Desert some new project, new project I got coming out. Be on the lookout for that.
Damn, that sounds hot as
Yeah.
fuck.
Word.
You heard it here first, y'all. The fuck? Awol, anything you want
Yeah,
left to say?
sure. I would like to give a special shout out to my goddaughter Ava, um, my goddaughter and niece Angel Lee, my niece Angelina, my nephews Troy and Justice, and the ladies at home, especially my mama Michelle, Mama Tina, and Nikki, of course. Nikki Sabine's you in my heart for life, and Alicia Gamble. If it weren't for you in Stony Brook, Sega AM2 and AM2 Part 2 would not be here. So thank you, and thanks for everyone that's
Word.
watching. And Sega, power on. I'm not even gonna say F Nintendo.
But you did. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to the Burnt
Thank you for
CD's
having
first
us.
episode.
Word. Peace.
Bye, friends.
Peace, peace. That was dope.
Yeah.